Junkie Nation, look who we got. Gorgeous George and Goes just keep delivering the MMA superstars. It's the immortal Matt Brown. What's up, Matt? How are you?
Very good. Very good.
Nice. All right. Well, I want to start off with something that we normally don't do. We normally don't inject our family and friends into our interviews, but my dad just loves you, man. I guess he met you once with Goes somewhere here in Vegas when you lived here, and he's always remembered it. But I asked him, I go, well, was it just that meeting? He goes, he's blue collar. See, my dad's a blue collar guy, and I think you came off as that as well to him, you know. But so shout out for my dad, and I wanted to ask you, do you think you've ever connected with white collar as well, or have you always noticed that you gravitate more to the guys that get their hands dirty when it comes to fans?
Yeah, definitely more blue collar. I mean, I definitely got like some friends and stuff that are I met fans that are more white collar, but yeah, I never really thought about that, man. You know, I mean, yeah, I'm just a grinder like everybody else, you know. So I think they kind of, you know, like I'm a friendly person with the fans and stuff, you know. Like I communicate with them, and I'm not like discriminatory. So I don't know if other people are like that or not, but maybe that's why. I don't know. And I come from a blue collar family, so that probably helps.
I see. All right. Well, listen, I wanted to ask you, at this point in your career, what's the prime motivator that you keep getting in the cage? Because if it's to entertain the fans, then keep doing what you're doing, man. Your fights are awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Certainly to entertain the fans, but the other part is, man, I just love it, man. It's great. I mean, it's the best feeling in the world. But I'd say first and foremost, you know, is like inspire others, man. You know, particularly my own kids. I got a gym that I own now with a lot of young up and comers there, and you know, it's very fulfilling when they tell me how much I inspire them. It's very fulfilling when I have people tell me, you know, I help them overcome an addiction or things like that. I get these kind of messages pretty regularly, you know, so that's probably my biggest inspiration at this point.
You've ticked a lot of boxes along the way. You got 15 UFC wins. You got over 20 wins in your MMA career. You've beaten some big names. You got grabbed like a handful of bonuses. You had a 7 or 8 fight win streak at one point in the UFC. That is no joke. What else at this point would you still like to accomplish, or are you just a prize fighter and you just want to, you know, collect some checks and move on to the next facet of your career?
Well, you know, I retired a few years ago, and then when I came back, the primary motivator was like just be a prize fighter and make some more money. But since I've come back, I've really loved the whole process again, fell in love with it more again. I've kind of seen how good that I can be and the skills that I can, the skills that have grown so much. So I think I have a lot more in me. I think I can do a lot bigger things than I've ever done before. So that's, you know, I guess it changed a little bit because there was a lot of like, dude, I just want, you know, I can like I can make more money fighting than anything else. You know, do a 6-week camp and, you know, make a 6-figure payday. It's like, you know, why would you want to do anything else? So, but again, like I just fell in love with it again. And I think I can do some big things still. I think it surprised some people.
You just turned 40, and a lot of people sometimes will say it's not a young man's game. But like I said, you're still out there entertaining, fighting at a high level. But has your body spoken to you and said, like, hey, do a little less of this in your camps, whether it's flipping tires or the ropes or just, you know, less wrestling? Like, is there something you've had to like tone down a little?
Yeah, absolutely. I had to tone down a lot of it. More than anything, probably just the overall volume. Like I've always been a high volume training guy, like where I put in, you know, 2-3 sessions every single day, sometimes 7 days a week for, you know, 3-4 weeks at a time. So I think just putting more emphasis on the recovery and taking the days where, you know, I can kind of relax and just get my mind away from fighting and kind of just enjoy, I don't know, just enjoy life more, you know, like I've always trained so hard that I didn't have an outside life. But I found that it can be beneficial to want to be in the gym and not just do it like as a standard routine day.
You know, I just thought of this question as I asked my previous question, but can you look back jokingly and say, yeah, that was dumb in terms of like ice bath, flipping tires, the ropes, the shark tanks? Like, was there something like came and went and you're like, okay, we're not doing that?
Yeah, man. I used to spar sometimes 4 or 5 days in a row. You know, like I just didn't want to like train. I didn't want to drill. I didn't want to, you know, learn new skills. I was like, dude, I just want to punch people. And, you know, I can feel actual like noticeable difference in my brain. Like I feel better now. So I think that's probably a big one.
What do you think of when people categorize you as a BMF? You, the Diaz brothers, Lawler, Masvidal. And by that, I mean you're mixed martial artists, you're professional athletes, you're prize fighters, but you just look like the type of guy that, man, you say the wrong thing, we're stepping in an alley, you know, and settling it the old school way too.
Well, that's kind of how I live. Like I love fighting, man. I'll fight in the alley as quickly as I'll fight in the cage. So I don't know if that makes me a bad motherfucker, but that's who I am.
Hey, I ain't got no beef. It makes you whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think it does make you that. I think a lot of people have gravitated to that, where I just noticed like when there's a fight card, you know, you got your main eventers, you got your prelim fighters, and it doesn't matter where they place you. You can be the second fight or the co-main event or the main event or whatever, but it's one of those where either your music or your face comes up, and all of a sudden people go, "That's Matt Brown. Shut the fuck up." Like, I'm watching this, you know, you want a beer? Just give me the beer. Just give me the hot dog. Shut up. I'm watching the fight. There seems to be like this gravitation towards you and the fights. And I think all the BMFers have that, man. It's special.
I appreciate that, man. That really means something to me. You know, I've worked a lot of years, put a lot into this, man. So for people to want to see me go out there and do what I do really makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's this no-nonsense approach, and I think the cool thing is, I'm glad you said you've had some pretty cool fan interactions. I always wondered if one of the reasons you retired was maybe even the fans or maybe even the media. Like it, you know, it just you can have the highest of highs, and then if something doesn't go your way, all of a sudden like nobody's got your back or anything like that. But has that been that way with the fans, or the fans stay pretty loyal to you along this journey?
I think I probably get better than most people do. I hear a lot of horror stories from other guys, but I mean, I certainly get my taste of guys that send me messages, especially like I remember after I got knocked out by Cerrone. I mean, there was people sending me pictures of me getting knocked out and videos, and you know, me laying there and you know just talking this stuff, man. That was like, you know, if you let it get to you, man, it can really hurt you. You know, and that's easy to do. I never really let it get to me like that. You know, I'm like, it's easy to let it get to you, but I just kind of brush it off, man. You know, it is what it is. I just do the best I can.
I still can't get over the fact that George would actually say, everybody, yeah, get me a beer, get me a hot dog, and shut the fuck up because Matt Brown's fighting. Who is this guy that's getting you the beer? And
I'm just saying, man, there's just a few of these guys that I've always gravitated to, and it's the no-nonsense guys, you know, like the ones where you almost say, like, Mr. Brown, can I get a picture versus, yo, Matt, let's do a picture. I think I'd just say Mr. Brown because the BMFers have this aura where as soon as they turn, you know, it's like, whoa, that's what I mean about no nonsense. So you just casually approach them. Now Matt's smiling here and laughing or whatever, but when he isn't, just look at the fucking hard look that he has. You know, like, what's the next question? You know what I mean? He's got his beard going on, he's blue collar guy, so he's no nonsense, man. But he carries that into the octagon, and you can tell that every ounce of energy he has, he's gonna leave it in there. Like he's not gonna dilly dally. He's not gonna coast or backpedal or anything like that. He comes to fight. And see, this comes from. Sorry to go off on a tangent. This goes to the whole back when I was growing up in school, and you would hear about, yo, there's a fight at Jack in the Box or at the park or whatever. There's just some of them cats that like to get down like that, and those are the ones where hundreds of kids would pour out, at that Jack in the Box and check it out. Whereas if some kid said, "Hey, I'm in a karate tournament on Saturday," no one's going to that. Maybe his best friend and his family, but the street fight, everyone's going. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad that I come across that way, man. Like, that's just who I am. I don't try to project like some image that I'm not. I don't really care what people think. I don't really focus on like trying to be. There's something to be said for the guys like a Connor or these guys that project a certain image, whether it's who they are or not outside the cage. There's something to be said for that. I respect it. I like what they do. I love it for the part of the show. I love watching I love watching that. I love hearing them talk. But when you're someone like me, like you can't even do that, man. Like it's not who I am. It's not in my blood. So I just stick with who I am, and I'm not going to change, man. Like this is, you see the same person after I win a fight and I'm talking to the interview, you're going to see that same person, when I'm sitting here hanging out with my kids in the living room.
Mm-hmm. Well, what George had alluded to earlier on in the interview about our father, I specifically remember this. I'll never forget this. But it was New Year's Day. We were having breakfast, and he was a big boxing fan. He was just starting to like MMA because his sons do MMA radio show. But I remember I never asked him for advice. But that day I go, "Hey, you got advice?" It's the first day of the year. And he was walking towards the garage. He never even looked back at me, but he just said, "Don't ever steal a parking spot from Tony Ferguson, and don't cross Matt Brown." And then he just walked away into the sunset. I'll always remember that. And then later on I asked him about it, and it was because he left an impression one day when we were in the studio. But I want to ask you a little bit about Carlos Condit. So pre-fight, you and Carlos said very similar things, and that you both respect each other and you love the way the other guy fights. That being said, when it came down to fight time, was there anything about him that surprised you?
I wouldn't say there was anything that surprised me. I guess I've watched and studied him for so long. I kind of knew exactly what to expect. We were supposed to fight a couple times before, and I think I knew exactly what to expect, and I think he gave me exactly what I was expecting.
Is he the closest thing you've ever encountered to like a mirror image of yourself, fighting wise?
I would say, yeah, to some extent. I think he does a little bit more like awkward stuff. Like he got me with that one takedown in the second round, pretty much. It was the second or third round. I think pretty much won the fight for him. It was like the most awkward takedown, but I'm like the only guy that does that takedown, I thought. And actually after me and my camp were joking around, they're like, "Dude, was he watching our training camp? Like you're the one that does that takedown all the time." That was really the only thing that kind of surprised me a little bit. But yeah, I think we're very similar in a lot of respects. I think I'm probably a little bit better in most things, but he was better in the one thing that counted, and that was getting the points on the scorecard.
When it was all said and done, did something click in your head right away? Like, I already know how to beat that guy if we were to fight again?
For sure. I mean, I thought that before the fight. I know specifically what mistakes I made and what I could do to fix those up and do it again. But, I'm not that guy either where I go out and beg for rematches. We get our 15 minutes and that's your time to shine, and either get it done or you don't.
I remember you sharing with us before about just how much fun you have with your kids. And I can't remember if it was an embedded or one of those where you were actually playing ball with them, and you just had this look on your face like you were having so much fun showing them stuff. So I was curious, later on in life, could you see yourself maybe doing some coaching? And will there also be another generation of Browns in mixed martial arts?
I absolutely want to do some coaching. And it's funny you say, you know, when I have my own gym, you know, and I work with some of the fighters. But man, working with the kids is the funnest thing. Like I try to work with the kids all the time. You know, when you guys talk about like, you know, I'm a BMF or a no nonsense, whatever, like that's the only thing that breaks me, man, is those kids. You know, I get in, hang out with my kids, and I think I'm just a different person when I'm with them. You know, you're gonna see a lot more smiles and a lot more energy coming out of me. But yeah, you know, but at the gym, man, I'm working with the kids all the time. You know, that's what I'm trying to do with my gyms, you know, just have the best kids program we can have. And, you know, my own kids, they're little killers, man. My one son, he loves it. That's all he wants to do is grapple and kickbox all the time. So, you know, if they keep it up, man, you're going to see some top 10 guys with the name Brown again.
I like it. I was peeking at that Instagram, and I see them hitting pads and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I also noticed you have a very good sense of humor because you were getting your balls busted on the 40-year-old virgin chest, pieces of hair that were missing. But you cleared it up. It was an EKG. I've gone through that as well. But that was pretty funny that you had a sense of humor and you posted and laughed about it.
Yeah, I tried, man. I'm probably not the funniest guy, but I do what I can.
Yeah.
The internet's amazing, man. You're always going to have some good humor on the internet. You search long enough.
I'll tell you what was humorous. It wasn't humorous that night, but I firmly agree with you, man. I can't see how the judges, and I had to go back to see who the fuck were these guys. I didn't recognize those names. That they didn't give you round one because I agreed with you. Round one was you. Round two was Condit. Round three was close. It could have gone either way, and nobody could claim robbery. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I told Goes, I said, I think they're gonna give it to Condit. But round one, I was baffled because you outstruck them, and then you had like the control time. I mean, I don't know. I liked that you were vocal about it because that wasn't right. You know what I mean? And let's say something goes right in round three, that could have cost you the fight. That was very egregious for you not to get round one scored for you.
Yeah, I thought it was complete garbage. And I know that a lot of these judges are trying to count damage more, you know, and I think what had to have happened was that they thought that he did enough damage on the bottom that he cut my eye open. You know, my eye got cut from the octagon, you know, the cage itself when I got takedown. And I got to think that they just seen that, or what they thought that was that he landed some strikes and got a big cut, you know. But even if that was the case, I mean, you know, I still controlled, and I still, you know, the little things that they don't see, sorry, the little things they don't see is kind of a bad issue too, you know. Like it wasn't like I was landing tons of strikes, but like I grinded my head into his jaw for a good 2 minutes in that round. And I guarantee if you ask Carlos, he's going to say, yeah, that shit sucked. You know, that was terrible. And sometimes like that's worse than, you know, getting punched in the face, you know, especially like, you know, these little slaps, little taps, and, you know, the ground and pound is hard to get, you know, big strikes, you know, and these guys you know, they need these judges. You know, they've never fought, so they don't understand. Like on bottom, like you just can't land good strikes. I mean, it's very rare. You know, there's like the Nico Price, you know, and stuff situations. But when you're in full guard and you're just tapping somebody on the side of the face, I mean, nobody on top cares about that at all. But I almost wish I didn't tweet it because, you know, I don't like, you know, I'm more of like just a warrior, man. And I'm like, I just accept what it is and move on. But that was really bugging me because I felt like, you know, if they would have given me that fight, it wouldn't have been a robbery. So I thought it could have went either way. So, you know, it definitely kind of bugged me. But I think what really bugged me was like I didn't get my win pay. Yeah, that's what, you know, win, lose, whatever, you know, you're better. But it sucks when you only get half your pay, you know?
Mark Lehman used to say, would you rather be on the second story throwing bricks down at the guy that just pissed you off, or would you rather be on the first story throwing bricks up at the guy in the second story, you know? And he says, yeah, man, top position is just, that is it, you know, and it should be scored that way unless you're literally doing nothing. But anyway, let me ask you this last question. It's two-part. Can a 40-year-old Matt Brown fight 3 times in 2020? And does a 40-year-old Matt Brown even want to, you know, and I'm not saying to make up for lost time. You had a very serious injury, but, you know, there was a few years where you only fought once. Is that according to plan, or do you want to like reel some off now that you got this one early in 2021? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. I think I could get 2 or 3 more this year. I think at my age and life situation, it depends more on the life situation than the age. That's what I was trying to say. The life situation, you know, having 3 kids, you know, that's the biggest hurdle when training for a fight, you know, because there's a lot of time that I'm missing when I'm in training camp getting ready for a fight. I mean, I miss a lot of time with my kids, even just in regular day-to-day training. So it really just comes down to making that sacrifice for, you know, whether it's for the better good or not, but, you know, making that sacrifice with my kids. And that's why I don't fight as much as I used to. There's really nothing more to it than that. So that'll be the decision maker. But I physically, as a 40-year-old man, I could fight 5 times this year. I mean, I feel great. I actually feel better than I ever have. I have everything dialed in way better than I ever have. Coaches are consistent and doing well. Have good people around me. I said my body feels great. Injuries are most healthy that I've been in probably 6-7 years. So yeah, I could definitely do it myself if I need to. And again, it's just going to come down to the kid situation.
Your kids are older now, by the way. Have they ever said, I'd like you to fight that guy, Dad?
You know, yeah. Every card they watch, like, you got to fight him. You'll be the champion. I mean, my twins are older. They're 10, but my daughter, she's only 5. So, you know, she's a firecracker.
Is there a name out there that you would like to fight that the kids have mentioned that matches what you want as well?
I haven't really thought about it too much, to be honest. Yeah, we'll kind of see how it plays out. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there. Yeah, we'll kind of just see how it plays out. I'm not sure right now.
Fair enough. Hey, man, thanks so much for the time. And it's been great to cover your career. I mean, like 2007, I believe. That's when the Ultimate Fighter was. We hadn't even been at 100 UFCs, and I think UFC 257 was the last one. So you're definitely an OG. I remember you coming up with Gurgel, Hazlett, Franklin, and everybody's basically moved on, and you're still chugging along, still entertaining, still throwing down. So hopefully you're just as proud of your career as your fans are of you.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it, man. Love you guys. I love the show. I love listening. So keep up the good work. And yeah, man, I might have another 5 years left in me, man. So hopefully we can get past UFC 300, and that'd be over 200 UFCs.